Hello, my name is Jennifer Shlomovich, and I am a vegan confidence coach. I specialize in helping vegans eliminate people pleasing so they can confidently be themselves and navigate the challenges of having a lifestyle different from the people around them. Here on my channel, The Confident Vegan, I share content on Tuesdays for Topic Tuesday, where I interview guests and share other personal development topics. On Fridays, I have Food Friday, where I share recipes and other food-related content. Today, my special guest is Angel Walkine, who is a well-being coach, author, wellness speaker, retreat leader, certified raw vegan chef, and a certified yoga teacher specializing in posture, breathing, and meditation. With decades of experience traveling around the world to over 30 countries, Angel has gained a deep appreciation for many cultures and healthy practices worldwide that have influenced her holistic wellness approach. Angel enjoys helping others to enrich their well-being through a healthy lifestyle and at home while traveling. Having a holistic lifestyle is very important to Angel and involves more than just her high vibrations plant foods diet. She also focuses on practicing powerful habits such as meditation, yoga, gratitude, self-love, self-care, aromatherapy, herbalism, physical fitness, and healthy relationships to achieve her high vibrations lifestyle. Welcome, Angel.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Great to be here.
It's great to have you here. You have so many amazing experiences and such a great background on so many different modalities. So I'm really excited to have a great conversation with you today. So thanks again for taking time out of your schedule.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
So my first question I ask everyone is, what is your vegan story?
Okay. Well, it links up with my travel story, my yoga story. So in 2018, I was in Budapest, Hungary for a yoga workshop. And one of the participants, who is still my friend, we actually just emailed the other day. Was vegetarian. I'm not sure. I haven't seen her in a few years. And so she saw that, and others saw that I was ordering what we call nowadays, we call it like plant forward, plant slant, vegetarian um meals when we shared group meals for our yoga gatherings. And so she invited me to go with her to a restaurant in Budapest. And I was very, very shocked that I didn't have to order no meat, no fish, no eggs, no dairy. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. What's going on? And so, of course, I enjoyed this beautifully yummy vegan dish. And afterwards, I figured out, oh, I think in the name of the I don't speak Hungarian, but I could figure out that there was vegan going on in the title of the in the name of the place. So I was like, vegan, I need to figure this out. And so I basically just started diving deep, Googling vegan Budapest, found another place to go to, and just kind of domino effect from there. And then I guess during my trip and after my trip, I was like, yeah, so this is the answer for me. Because I had been what we call vegetarian, pescatarian for over 20 years before that. And that was mainly for health reasons, to be healthy, to reduce inflammation. I'd read a book in the 1990s that had talked about basically eliminating what we call meat and dairy from our diets. And so so that's what I started to do in the late 90s. So, when I discovered in 2018, there was this whole big world of veganism. At first, I thought it was only a diet. I quickly learned through reading labels on beauty products, etc., that no, it's more than a diet. Like, there are vegan skincare products and et cetera, et cetera. So I really started to do more research and, through blogs, articles, podcasts, documentaries, social media. And I just said, oh my gosh, I have to figure this out. This must be the answer for me. And so it was in 2018 that I became vegan. And then it was later in 2018 that I really started to dive into, the social media aspect and the whole vegan social media type of world. And then that's when I started to learn even more and more and more. So in a nutshell, that's how my vegan story, I guess we could say, um, you know, uh, just came to be just out of a visit to a restaurant with a friend, a new friend. I didn't even know her before.
That's a great story. And I feel like I can relate to it in a different way with that's what got me too was oh my God, the food is amazing. It's not just a diet. I know I've mentioned this before on my channel, so those who follow me have heard my story before, but just briefly, it started with dairy and how it was making me feel. I was having skin issues and sinus issues, and I was reading on how certain foods, like, eliminating certain foods can help, and how dairy can be a culprit. And I started paying attention to how I felt after I had dairy products. And so I did a little experiment for 30 days where I was like, all right, for 30 days, let me just see what it'll be like. And I noticed probably like a week or two into it that I was probably like a week. I think I started to really feel a difference. And as the month went on, like I realized, wow, dairy was making me feel bad in ways I didn't even realize it was making me feel bad. And I started looking up dairy-free recipes on Pinterest, and I was coming across all these vegan recipes, and I discovered forks over knives, and I discovered this like whole plant-based world of amazing food, and I did want to eat healthier. I have heart disease in my family and diabetes, and I wanted to find ways to eat healthier without also feeling deprived. I think there's this thought or this notion that vegans are deprived. We're missing out on a lot of things. Meanwhile, I feel like I'm a better cook since I became vegan because you see plants so much differently, and like it becomes more I became more creative. Like I discovered using all these different herbs and spices and ways. Like my spice cabinet explodes now with like with all these different spices and yeah, and so in a different way, it was the food. It was like, wow, this is amazing. And I started getting cookbooks, and I was like, oh, I would love to do this, but I know my family's not going to want to do this. So I had to figure out how to be vegan around non-vegans, which is why I ended up creating this channel and doing the work that I'm doing now. And but it all started with food and discovering how amazing it was and how much better my body felt. And yes, there is vegan junk food out there, but you can eat as healthy or as unhealthy on a non-vegan diet just as you could on being vegan, right? And so it's about choice. So there are unhealthy non-vegans roaming around out there too. And so I have, I follow that like 80-20 rule where I eat mostly plant-based, whole food plant-based. I try to reduce oil and processed foods as much as possible. And then, I have a little bit of that stuff during the week, but it's reduced. And so it's finding that balance. But having this diet makes us a much better baseline for me in just managing my healthy eating without, again, feeling like I'm being restricted, because I feel like that's a huge turnoff for people. And I think why people are afraid to transition to veganism or give it a second thought, because there's that fear, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, you know, I did start off as a junk food vegan, what we call a junk food vegan. So I was mainly, well, I was traveling quite a bit, and I was mainly, attracted to, I guess, what we could call like the vegan burgers, the French
Mm-hmm.
pastries, the muffins, all of that. If it said vegan, I was like, yes, I'd like to have one or two of those. Yes, please. Thank you.
I've been there.
Plus, I was just so thrilled. Like, no, I don't have to ask for no cheese, no eggs, no meat. I was just really thrilled, to be honest. I'm still thrilled. And it's just from a different perspective now, because back then I didn't really know what was going on with the whole vegan philosophy. I wasn't really, surfing the web like I do nowadays, et cetera, et cetera. So, what I quickly discovered, though, I guess in my, after my first year of kind of, of course, enjoying lots of convenience vegan foods, I discovered that this can be a lifestyle of abundance if
Mm-hmm.
embrace the wide variety of the fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices that are out there. And I like to try to consume as many colors as I can. Keep my diet as colorful as possible. So getting, the reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, whites, browns, blacks, get all the colors, all the flavors, all the textures and aromas, so that it's not like you were talking about, it's not a diet, quote unquote, of deprivation, of limitations and scarcity. For me, honestly, this has just opened up such a huge perspective on the wide of variety and abundance of plant foods.
Yeah, because we eat with our eyes, so it's and salads. Since I've been vegan, or actually before I became vegan, when I started exploring vegan recipes, my salads became much more exciting than the salads before I became vegan. I mean, yeah, I love putting roasted sweet potatoes on top of things and just other stuff, and yeah, it's so important to eat with your eyes, and when you're eating healthy, nutrient dense food, then it's not about counting calories. You can just eat until you feel satisfied, right? And that's what's great about it, because if I feel like I'm eating a lot of something that tastes good to me and it also is healthy and I don't have to like count calories, and sign me up. Like that's
I agree. Like, on a planned diet, and I understand that veganism is not only a diet, but since we're specifically talking about the diet, the dietary aspect, and also because for a lot of people, you know, it's a it's a big deal. It's a big concern because, many people eat two, three, four, five times a day. So of course it's a top of mind topic, and I do feel like we are a very food focused society. So, I can really understand why people focus on the food part a lot. And so what I just want to say too is like the great thing, besides of course, excluding animal content from our diet, the great thing is we don't have to then worry about, the cholesterol, the saturated fat, like you're saying, the high calorie count. We don't have to think about those aspects when we're eating a plant diet because we're not consuming that. So, yeah, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful way of life, a lifestyle, and I'm just so grateful that I'm on it.
yeah, the more all the vegans I've spoken to on here, everyone is just so happy that they've taken the journey and wondered why they didn't do it sooner, right? It's like and so, because again, change can be challenging. We're especially when you grew up eating the standard American diet, and meat was on your plate all the time and other animal products, that we don't know, that we figure that's the way it is until, and so it takes time. It can feel a little uncomfortable, it can feel challenging when you're navigating, again, when you're touching your food, because again, food is so important to us. It's not just the meals, it's the social aspect too, getting together with friends and families and holidays, and you can coexist with non-vegans as a vegan, or someone who's just trying to eat more plants in general. If you're not someone who wants to necessarily be vegan, but you just want to eat more plant-based and reduce the animal products, there's ways to do it and coexist with what everyone else is doing. It just takes a little bit of planning. And what I tell everyone who I've worked with is if someone can't respect your boundaries and doing what's right for you, then that they're the problem. That says more about that relationship. That should be looked at a little bit more. You're not the problem. If what you want to eat to take care of yourself is a problem for somebody, then that's something else going on that then needs to be addressed, for sure. I just want to jump over to another element of veganism because you also are into raw vegan, and that's something I haven't talked about in depth. I'm trying to think if I did a raw recipe on my channel for it was mostly raw because I put a whipped topping, a dairy free whipped topping on top of this pie, but the rest of it was all raw. So yeah, I'm excited to have you talk a little bit more about that because I feel like there's also misconceptions about eating raw. And yeah, it can be a little bit more restrictive. There's a lot more planning with it, but it's also very delicious. I've had raw food and have made some raw meals, and they can be, especially the dressings. There's a lot of great dressings and sauces, and I think that just makes everything taste delicious. Um, so yeah, what is raw vegan?
Yeah. Raw vegan is defined generally by, let's say, the percentage of your consumption by weight that you are consuming in raw foods that are not heated above more or less 118 degrees Fahrenheit, or more or less, let's say, I don't know, 45 degrees centigrade, somewhere around there. Different people have different numbers that they like to, shall we say, agree upon. And so basically there's a level of heat that we want to avoid. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
avoid that when we're talking about the raw vegan choice here and diet is because above a certain temperature, some of the nutrients can be destroyed and some of the enzymes
Mm-hmm.
be destroyed. And also, of course, some of the flavor is going to be altered, the texture, the aroma, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just like, thinking about a fresh apple versus a baked apple. So they're quite different in,
Yeah.
yeah, in many aspects. So a person who is considered raw vegan generally is someone who is consuming 75% or higher in raw foods as a percentage of the total weight of their average consumption. And a person who's considered high raw vegan is a person who's consuming between 50 and 74% roughly of the weight of their consumption on average per day that is raw. So I stumbled across raw 1 year after going vegan. So in
Mm-hmm.
2019, as I mentioned just a while ago, I basically started off as junk food vegan, just kind of eating whatever was out there, to be honest with you.
And there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yes, yes, yes. And so I really wasn't paying much attention. And one day I was just, I don't know, just kind of on social media and something just came into my feed about raw veganism. I was like, what? Let me check this out. And so I started to dive deep on that. I got enthralled with that. It just seemed to fit my preferences better because I knew I was eating like a lot of, for example, lots of pastries and, cookies and all, just lots of sweet, sugary vegan foods. And so I knew that that wasn't exactly my preference. I just didn't have an alternative that I could really, I guess, put my finger on. So literally, so yeah, I just started to research it, and then I was like, yes, I want to do this. So then I took a course on raw vegan mastery over in Ireland, and that really kind of expanded my view of the whole raw world. And yeah, I really feel better on raw. I'm not always 100% raw every single day. However, I feel way better on raw, and I know that there are huge benefits that I personally have experienced. Even when compared to when I eat raw vegan meals versus cooked vegan meals, my digestion is way smoother, way better, way easier on the raw diet compared to some of the cooked foods that I've, eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends. I mean, it depends on what you want, what the person's goals are, but um I say, golly gee, if a person wants to like investigate or experiment a little bit more with the raw world, maybe adding a cold press organic juice, whenever you can. That's raw. Maybe adding more fruit, more whole fruit, and whole vegetables. You were speaking about salads, for example, a little while ago. Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, adding in a salad, every day, every few days, or whatever your, preferences are, what you have, available to you, is what I would say. And also, maybe next time you go to a vegan restaurant, order, maybe have a look before you go and see if you can find a restaurant that offers raw vegan meals, like raw vegan lasagna, um,
Mm-hmm.
raw vegan desserts are quite popular.
I'm a big fan of those.
Yes, yes, it's so good. But yeah, I personally say add some cold pressed juices, add some smoothies, of course. I'm a huge smoothie lover. I make smoothies basically 3 times a day, I would say.
Wow.
I make different batches. I combine the batches. It's true. Like I'll have like a leftover smoothie from, let's say, 12 o'clock, and later in the afternoon, I'm like adding more ingredients to it, and
Oh,
and
fun.
yeah, and changing the flavor profiles with different herbs and spices, different fruits and vegetables. So there's so much you can do, and then even later in the day, I'm like, whipping up another concoction with smoothies. So there's so much you can do with raw foods as well, and I really love it.
Yeah, I feel like, since learning, I learned a little bit more about raw last summer when I stumbled across, I think she goes by Fully Raw Christina. I don't know if do you know who she is? Yeah.
Big part of my journey. Oh my goodness,
I
yes.
love, so I one last summer just stumbled across her YouTube channel, and I'm like, I think I binged like 3 hours worth of her videos. And I was like, for like a month buying, like making a lot of her dressings because, and then we were moving and preparing for moves. So I just kind of got lazy with it. But I've been thinking about going back to making her salad dressing recipes because salad dressings can have a lot of fat and unhealthy ingredients. And they're so, like, the raw dressings are so flavorful. Like all you want to do is just eat the salad because the dressings are so good. So I really really love her. I'm gonna plunk the link. I'm gonna put that down in the notes below because I feel like if someone wants to just check out raw, her videos are fun and there's just so much inspiration on there on things to do. And so I really like raw for the desserts and the dressings, like especially, and because you're using basil and a lot of fresh herbs, and it just takes things on a whole different level with flavor. I mean, I love fresh basil, pesto. All of that is so delicious, and you can make it really, really healthy. And so for me, I've used raw for like a to inspire me for healthier desserts and dressings, and then whole food plant based just for like that healthier overall baseline of eating. And I feel like that's, once you experiment and you try a lot of things, then you kind of figure out, well, how can I incorporate this into my day to day living? And so, yeah, that sounds. And so, what do you? how do you work with people who are interested in making these types of transitions in their life? You also do energy work too, so right?
Yeah. So basically for let's say from the coaching perspective, um, people have different goals. Some of them want to try going raw vegan, let's say predominantly raw vegan. Some want to maybe dip their toe in, they're not too sure. And they want to stick more to like the cooked elements. So it really just depends on what their goals are. And as I was saying earlier, I really think like, adding juices, adding smoothies, adding salads, adding whole fruits, even adding whole vegetables, for example. I love snacking. I know this is probably going to sound like, oh, that's rabbit food, but I love snacking on like raw carrots, like literally.
They're really good. I was doing that yesterday. I was making a soup and I was like eating some leftover carrot. And I was like, oh, I forgot how good just raw carrots are.
It's true. It's true. Or, just eating like, two apples in a row, three apples. Like for me, honestly, fruit is just so high energy, like just the natural sugars that, our bodies need. All of the nutrition's in there. So yeah, I try to help people to find a way that suits them. Some people
Mm-hmm.
don't currently have a juicer, don't have access to juicer, so the juicing part won't be for them, or maybe they might buy their juices from some place, right? Or they may not even have a blender, so then they'll probably go like the salad and the whole fruits and the whole vegetable route. But I mean, there are tons of recipes out there too for making like raw lasagnas, raw pastas, of course the raw cakes and desserts, and then there's a whole arena of using raw, for example, raw in a dehydrator, which is like a special type of like heating, you could say heating appliance.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not exactly an oven because it keeps the temperatures, much lower, to keep it within like the raw range. But there's so many ways that people want to approach it, and I don't try to, force anybody, of course. And a lot of people find raw to be particularly challenging in colder weather. So that's why I put together a guide, like basically how to thrive as a raw vegan in winter
Oh,
and air.
wow.
Yeah, because a lot of people struggle with that. And of course some of it is mental and emotional, like a psychological, like, oh my gosh, it's cold, so I can't eat, room temperature food or cold food. But there are ways to get around it. Like once you set yourself up for success, there are ways to enjoy raw all year round. And again, it doesn't have to be 100%.
Yeah, I think I tell people a lot, the people I work with, is progress over perfection, right? So if you're doing something that's better for you, even if it's a small quantity, like that's still better than nothing. So, I'm a big fan of progress over perfection because you got to start somewhere and you can build off of that progress, right? And maybe it's one smoothie a week, and then the next thing you know, you're making three smoothies a week, and then you're changing one meal. Oop, I just bumped my mic. Then you're just changing, some other meals, one meal at a time. The smallest changes that we make are the most impactful, because if it you want to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone, but if you feel like it's such a huge leap in the beginning, then we just kind of want to like curl up in a ball and hide, so it's making it more manageable and fun. And um there are what are some common challenges that you've run into as a vegan or with clients that you've worked with, and what are some tips that you have to help people navigate those challenges?
Yes, that's a powerful question, and it's a complicated question. And I would say, in my personal experience and also from what I've heard from others, It's really not so much that we want to be vegan. It's really more so that there are many people around us who are not vegan and who are not supportive. So we sometimes experience a lot of resistance, criticism, doubts, naysaying from others who are not on board with the vegan lifestyle yet. Um,
Right.
so now one could say, well, they are pre-vegans or pregans, they're going to be vegan one day, but they're not yet vegan. So, I understand that. Uh, so really the most challenging part for me and what I've observed with others' experience as well is basically the comments from others, the lack of availability of vegan options at family gatherings, work gatherings. That's a very big one. Work
That can be a tough one. Yeah.
yeah, traveling. So it really takes a lot of it really takes some planning. However, more than planning, it takes determination and mindset. And I know you are very big on confidence, and it really takes really strong confidence to resist caving and giving in to some of the, shall we say, peer pressure around us, which can sometimes lead to people, for example, not following the vegan philosophy during a meal because someone's making fun of them, someone's arguing with them. I mean, there's so many different scenarios. So I personally try to plan ahead. I will like, even take something for me to eat. If I feel like there's not going to be adequate supply for me to, consume in a gathering. Or I'll choose places where, there are options. And honestly, I mean, when I first started, I did find myself eating a lot of French fries. So now I become more creative and I understand better how to, for example, order a salad. Let's say it's a salad that has animal content. I've just become very used to ordering a salad and with no this, no this, no this, no
Yeah.
this.
My husband's used to this now. He playfully jokes around with me about it, you know. But yeah, it's like, it's like, it's almost good salad until there's cheese and egg and mayonnaise and meat.
And also, what I've learned to do is order side dishes, and then I
Mm-hmm.
concoct and fabricate a meal. Like I piece together a meal from, a side of I don't know, a side of steamed spinach with a side of tomatoes with a side, olives. I will just put together everything I can find and just make a meal out of sides. And I was doing that when I was vegetarian, pescatarian. So I got a lot of practice doing it over the 20 plus years I was on that side of the, I guess, of the spectrum, so to speak. So yeah, but so that's a big problem. Not getting support from, shall we say, our entourage or our inner circle. And so we really, really, need support from each other. And, obviously it's great that you're doing the work you're doing. And, there's so many support groups that people can join, get a coach, find someone they can confide in and do research, like, really watch those documentaries, listen to those podcasts, watch those videos and read the articles and blogs and social media posts that can really strengthen our ability to withstand a lot of the resistance and criticism, and marketing that's out there that makes it harder for us to, continue smoothly on our vegan journey.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. I think preparation is key. So with communication, which with my clients, it's boundary setting and tactful communication and explaining to people what you need. Like when I go to someone's house, if they don't know that I'm vegan, I just let them know and I offer. I don't expect them to have anything. If they do make something for me, that's really nice. I had a family member last year excited to just make a bunch of vegan food for me. I brought stuff and it's like this whole smorgasbord of things that she made because she was excited just to try vegan recipes. So that was very nice. Once in a while, you'll find somebody who like that, or I've had family members get things or order things that are vegan, which I is very appreciative. But I always still offer to bring like a main dish and a dessert. This way I know I'm guaranteed to have something, and it's also an opportunity to share with others what vegan food can be. Like, it doesn't have to be boring. It can be really flavorful, and whenever I've brought stuff, everyone is very surprised at how good it is. So I feel like you can shift that mindset to, oh, this is an opportunity to show someone how amazing it is. There's this Tex-Mex casserole I make from, oh my goodness, the Oshi Glows cookbook, the first cookbook that came out. And it's got crunchy corn chips on top and beans and all, like, it's like all the stuff you would have in a taco or burrito, but in a casserole. And I've not met a non-vegan who's had it who didn't go back for more. Like, you put some guacamole on top and the vegan cheese blends in with the spices and the crunchy corn chips. So when you do that, you want to bring something that is going to just wow them. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but just something something that's a comfort food type dish that will definitely win people over. And then the Happy Cow app is so helpful in planning, and when meeting people, it's just looking ahead at restaurants that either are vegan or just have vegan options. Creativity with side dishes, like I'll order a baked potato without any butter on it, and I'll either get some avocado, or sometimes restaurants have hummus, so I'll take different things and put hummus on top of it. You get creative, right? And it can be fun, and you can find ways to have fun with it. And so planning, and then just the communication. And then you also brought up a very good point. Read all those articles, read blogs, listening to podcasts. That's going to strengthen your knowledge. I heard this saying a long time ago from someone, and it's always stuck with me, is, knowledge conquers fear. So when you have knowledge about something, you can stand up confidently with what, because you have knowledge. And I at a family function last year, a relative was like, "Oh, you're vegan? What do you do for protein?" And I told him, and he's like, "That's not real protein." And I just, whatever, like, I just let it slide off. You got to pick and choose your battles. People are set in their ways. It's not worth trying to convince them. But when you have knowledge and people ask you things, where do you get your protein? Aren't you malnourished? I've heard it all. At least you'll have that knowledge where you can just direct them to an article, right? Hey, I read a great article that talks more about this. So you don't even have to do the work because you have read articles or listened to a TED Talk. You can just share with them information if they run interested. And by having that knowledge, I feel like it helps with all those things. And then, the supportive community, go find your people. And that can be really, really helpful. I'm launching, by the time this comes out, the first event will have already happened, but I'm doing a vegan sip and chat, which is a virtual place for people to just hang out and chat, and whether you're vegan or aspiring vegan, just to connect and have a laid back space to just talk about the things that are on your mind and find support. And I'll put the link down for that in the notes below. And I know you have a lot of different ways of supporting others. I know you have a retreat coming up, which by the time this comes out, will be over, but do you mind sharing a little bit about the supportive community that you're creating for others?
Yeah, thanks for that, Jennifer. So I have a retreat, Awakening in the Jungle in Costa Rica. I've been lucky to visit Costa Rica 3 times, and I really just find the energy so beautiful there. All the nature, they have everything: jungle, forest, ocean, rivers, streams, mountains, volcanoes, all the animals,
It sounds beautiful. The pictures I've seen, it looks amazing.
yeah, all the natural, habitats for the animals, all of the fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices that they have. It's really a beautiful, beautiful environment. Very eco-friendly, very animal friendly. They really protect the animals there. So yeah, it's gonna be a 5 night retreat and lots of beautiful high vibration activities, gentle yoga, breath energy, meditation, journaling. We'll have circles for like tea ceremonies, cacao ceremony. Um,
Mm.
Also, of course, time in nature, free time, the beach, etc. So I'll also do some workshops, on well-being and wellness and food and an introduction to herbalism, etc. So there's so much that we can, I guess, benefit from under the umbrella of, plant-based vegan well-being and wellness. And I want to also add to our conversation, that segment we just finished, I have found on this journey that it's super important also to be patient and have compassion for people who are resistant to
Mm-hmm.
the vegan lifestyle and philosophy, who are resistant to us, even though we are in their inner circles. And, they're still very resistant to the notion and the philosophy of veganism. So I found that patience and compassion are very powerful, and I find them to be tools in my toolkit to help me to navigate some of the tricky situations. And I benefit from the patience and compassion just as much as the other person. So yeah, it's definitely a very interesting journey that we're on here, as vegans or as people who are transitioning to this lifestyle and philosophy. However, it's very beautiful. Like once you kind of make that leap, take that leap, it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about responding instead of reacting. And I've had this discussion with other vegans. It's when we start becoming intentional about not buying animal products, not eating them, not wearing them, um, you start becoming intentional. It has a ripple effect in your life where you start thinking differently about just your impact in the world and how you impact others and how our actions have an impact. And so I feel like it makes us more intentional in other ways. And yeah, your retreat sounds really lovely. Do you do retreats like yearly?
So I want to get this one off the ground, this first one, and
Uh-huh.
then my goal is to create probably 2 more before the end of the year.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, so probably be after the summer holidays and then later in the year. Yes.
Great. So yeah, so by the time someone watches this, it'll be probably during the time you're doing your retreat. But when if they follow you, they'll be able to see when the next one comes out because it does sound great. All important things. And then you also do a free meditation, correct?
That's right. So as a part of, my offerings, I also offer a free meditation. Currently I'm doing it twice a week. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so you can just check out happyenergy journey.com and slash free dash meditations, and or just tap on, just go over to happyenergyjourney.com and you'll see a little entry there for free meditation. And yeah, so it's all levels are welcome, beginners, And I include breath energy, what people call breath work, I guess, or deep breathing, and also, of course, meditation. There are different styles of meditation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do cover different styles, if you will. And it's only for 30 minutes because I know when I personally started to meditate some years ago, I really found it hard to sit still for even 5 minutes. I would set my alarm.
Yeah, I'll set my alarm for like 5, 10 minutes because I'm
It really
squirming.
helps. It helps. It helps. It really helps. Honestly, like I said, I started around 5 minutes and then I ramped it up, incrementally over time. But that's why I don't want to offer like, the hour-long meditations. I mean, I personally do my own longer meditations, and I'm a part of different meditation groups around the world that, we meet online. However, I know everyone's not ready for that, and I don't expect that. And so, yeah, I'm offering 30 minutes. And so, yeah, you can just check out the link in my on my website. And then after, once the person basically says they're interested, then I send out the links.
Great. That sounds really great. And I feel like, yeah, 30 minutes, especially if you're busy during the week, that's like a nice little timeout for yourself. Like when I go 30 minutes, it's very impactful. I mean, even 5 minutes can help, but 30
Mhm.
minutes makes a huge shift when I have done a 30 minutes, and guided meditations are much more helpful for me to staying like focused. So it's great that you're doing that. Wow, I feel like we could talk about so many different things. I've been really enjoying our chat, and I hope to have you back in the future. I'd love to have you talk about vegan travel tips, because I feel like you would have a lot of great information to share on that. So before we wrap up, are there any inspirational resources that you'd like to share with viewers?
Yeah. I invite viewers, listeners. First of all, I want to thank you all so much for joining us, and I want to thank Jennifer so much for inviting me. I invite everyone to check out my website, happyenergyjourney.com. On there, I have a wide variety of free information. So I have to, like, the list is so long. I'm just gonna I'm actually looking at it right as I speak. So I have a travel segment where I give out free information on like Happy Cow, a billion. There's a card there that someone else created with, like, explaining that you're vegan in like about 100 languages or so.
Wow.
And then, of course, I have some free meditation and breathing information, not only my guided meditations. However, I have also linked up I've connected links to other very, very famous and very helpful meditation teachers. So you can find those free videos and guides on my website. I also have a YouTube channel, so people can go over there and have a look at what I'm sharing over there. I have a blog, and then I share a lot of free information on juicing, raw vegan recipes, nutrition, handling stress. I have a couple of free downloads. One is a raw vegan guide, a quick guide to get you started, as well as a couples guide. So couples going vegan together. And also lots of holiday recipes, vegan seafood recipes. So tons and tons of information there. And I have a few ebooks out on Amazon, so you can check that out as well on my website.
Wow, your website sounds amazing. I glanced through it before when we first connected, and it sounds like there's so many amazing things for me to check out on there. It sounds great. Yeah, so I'll include all of your links in the notes below. So if you, those of you who've been watching, you want to connect with Angel, check out her resources. Sounds like you're a great wealth of information. And yeah, and I hope everything goes well with your retreat. It sounds like an amazing experience. And yeah, and then by the time this airs, the retreat will have been happening or has already happened, and it's going to be around that time. But I definitely check out and keep an eye out for future retreats because I'm sure those will be lovely too.
Awesome. Yes, yes. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much, Jennifer.
Oh, Angel, thank you so much for coming on here today. And thank you, those of you who tuned in and watched us whenever you're watching. And yeah, I'll include all the links in the notes below and also share some of the resources we talked about. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Jennifer. Bye-bye.